In this session, we will understand about addressing modes. That is, I'm going to explain you people about all the addressing modes in the simplest way that is possible. Okay, let us understand these addressing modes to the simplest extent, because you might have heard about these addressing modes in your academia, but the thing is, you might not get the gist of it, glimpse of it even. Okay, now I will explain you guys the addressing modes in the simplest extent, to the simplest extent that is possible. Let us stay focused. And before we get into the details of the addressing modes, let us try understanding what is an addressing mode. First of all, try to get what is an addressing mode. For that, let me show you once again how our instruction looks like. You people have seen our instruction, right? Of course, our good old friends are program counter, address register, instruction register, data register, accumulator. Remember? These are the registers in our single accumulator organization in the system that we are designing right now. Let us brush them up. Let us only look at this instruction register. This instruction register has three fields. The first field is the mode field. The next three digits are the opcode field. And the next field is the address part of an operand, right? This address part of the instruction is going to specify an address of an operand. Did you get it? Now, let us start discussing about the addressing modes. Okay. Already we discussed about two of the addressing modes in our previous sessions. One is direct addressing mode and one more is indirect addressing mode. In the direct addressing mode, the address part of the instruction is going to specify, this address part of the instruction is going to specify a direct address. Taking this address, we go to the main memory. And we'll collect the operand. The operand is available in the address that is specified in the address part of the instruction. Going to that address, we'll collect the operand. Finally, the operation is going to be performed in between accumulator and 1050, right? So that is accumulator is equal to accumulator plus 1050. And if it is an indirect addressing mode, in the indirect addressing mode, the address part of the instruction, this address part of the instruction rather, is going to specify an address of the memory location in which there is another address. So 1050 here is no more an operand, rather it is another address. So taking that address, when we go to that location, we will get 750. Finally, the accumulator is equal to accumulator plus 750, because the opcode is the operation that is going to be performed is addition, right? How do we know either it is a direct address or an indirect address? We will be notified by this mode digit. If the mode digit is equal to 0, then it is a direct address, and the mode digit is equal to 1, then it is an indirect address. Having discussed this, now it is the best time to understand about the addressing mode. Okay, first of all, try understanding what is an addressing mode. An addressing mode is going to give you an effective address of the operand. We use the addressing modes to get the effective address of the operand. What is the effective address? The effective address is, let me write it here, an address in which the actual operand is available. The actual OPR is available. Okay. Now let us see what is an effective address. If it is a direct address, 450 is the effective address, right? Go to the main memory, and in 450 itself, the operand is available. If it is an indirect address, 450 cannot be the effective address. 1050 will be the effective address, because in 1050th location, the operand is available. Now, what is an effective address? An effective address is an address in which the actual operand is available. The actual operand is available in the direct addressing mode is at the 450th location. So 450 is the effective address in which the actual operand is available. In the indirect addressing mode, 1050 is the effective address in which the actual operand is available. So finally, an addressing mode is going to give you the effective address, meaning the actual address of an operand. Okay, so if this is the operand, this is the effective address. If this is the operand, this is the effective address. So try to understand. We are going to calculate the effective addressing mode by using addressing modes to get the effective address of an operand. What is an effective address? The effective address is an address in which the actual operand is available. Okay. Now let us understand about various different addressing modes. Okay. But before we get into the addressing modes, try understanding something about the addressing modes. The number of addressing modes will vary from systems to system. Here we just discussed about direct addressing mode and indirect addressing mode, right? Not only direct and indirect, we can have several addressing modes. Okay. How many addressing modes? Depends. As we are designing a simple system, we can have a few addressing modes. But as the computer system complexity is increasing from 8086 to i9, the number of addressing modes will also be different. Okay. So in our computer system that we are designing, we may use 10 or 11. The number of addressing modes that we design is 10 or 11. Okay. But when you go to Intel i9 or i3 or i5 or Celeron or Pentium, they may use in those processors maybe more number of addressing modes gets used because the complexity will get increased. Nevertheless, we are going to design the standard common addressing modes which are well known to all the processors. That is, the addressing modes that we are designing and implementing in our processor are the standard addressing modes. Okay, if you can understand these addressing modes, rest of the addressing modes in any other processor will be very simple to understand because those remaining additional addressing modes can be designed by using the addressing modes that we are designing. Okay, simple CPU uses standard addressing modes that we are designing. Complex CPU uses many addressing modes. Okay, every addressing mode used to enable a specific feature of the programming language. Why to use an addressing mode? Try to understand. That is, forget about this. Try to understand. There is an addressing mode such as indirect addressing mode, right? What is indirect addressing mode? In the indirect addressing mode, this address part is going to contain an address in which there is another address. I think being a programmer, you are sensing something. Yes, this address part of the instruction is holding a pointer. What is a pointer? Which holds an address of another address, right? So, addressing modes are primarily used to enable different features of a program. For an example, when we use indirect addressing mode, then the pointers concept can be implemented. Okay, if you want to use the pointers, first of all, in that computer system, indirect addressing mode must be available. Okay, pointers cannot be implemented on a processor in which there is no support for the indirect addressing mode. Okay, similarly, every addressing mode is going to enable one or the other feature of a program. There are several features that will be used by a programmer. There will be loops and there will be program relocation. There will be several features that are going to be utilized by a programmer when he writes a program. Pointer is one of such features. If he wants to enable the pointers feature, first of all, he need to ensure that the system in which he is working, he is executing the program, is supported with the indirect addressing mode. Okay, if there is no indirect addressing mode, no pointers. Simple. Okay, and we will understand the applications of every addressing mode while we discuss about these addressing modes later. Okay, now let us get into the details of the addressing modes. I several times explained you guys about direct addressing mode and the indirect addressing mode. I'm not going to talk more about this because direct addressing mode, the address part of the instruction is going to specify a direct address, And indirect addressing mode, it is going to specify an address in which there is another address. Let us not talk more about it, because in most of the previous sessions we discussed about this direct addressing mode and indirect addressing mode. Let us discuss about the remaining addressing modes. There is one addressing mode called implied addressing mode. Okay, when it comes to the implied addressing mode, there will be no address specified at all. We don't require an address. What is this implied addressing mode? Try to understand. For a few instructions, the operand is specified implicitly within the instruction itself. Looking at the instruction, we will be able to know what is the operand. Operand will not be provided explicitly to that instruction. For an example, let me go back. Let me erase all these things. Let us say there is an instruction. There is an instruction. There is an instruction. Let us say CLA. What is CLA? CLA stands for clear accumulator, right? CLA stands for clear accumulator. This clear accumulator does not have any address at all. Is the operand being provided explicitly to this instruction? No. CLA is a complete opcode. If you could remember, CLA is a 16-bit, starting with 0111. You remember? 0111. Okay. Followed by 1000, 0000, completely it's an opcode, right? So forget about it. For some instructions such as CLA and CLE, the operand is specified within the instruction itself. We don't provide an explicit operand such as add 450. When I say add 450, this 450 is an address of the operand which is explicitly specified in this instruction. Okay. Now, when it comes to a few instructions such as CLA or CLE, the operand, looking at the instruction itself, you know what is the operand. What is the operand for this? The operand is accumulator itself, right? That is, the operand is implicit within the instruction. That is called implied addressing mode. In the implied addressing mode, operand is specified within the instruction itself. Okay, that is, effective address is always accumulator. That is, operand is always accumulator itself. Okay. Now, what are the examples for implied addressing modes? Implied addressing mode, all the register reference instructions will come under implied addressing mode. Just remember the register reference instructions. CLA, clear accumulator. CLE, clear extended accumulator. Sorry, CMA, complement accumulator. CME, complement extended accumulator. CIR, accumulator content should be rotated right. CIL, left shift will be performed on the contents of the accumulator. INC, increment the accumulator. SPA, if the accumulator is positive, skip the next instruction. SNA, if the accumulator is negative, skip the next instruction. Look at all these instructions. All these instructions will have only one operand, that is accumulator, which is implicit to the instruction itself. That is what? Implied mode. In an implied addressing mode, we don't have the operand explicitly specified. Okay. And there is something called an immediate addressing mode. What is immediate addressing mode? Now go back. Okay. Let us see the current instruction. Add 450. If this instruction is said to be in the immediate addressing mode, then this 450 cannot be an address. Rather, this 450 is the direct value. Did you get it? That is, if this instruction is said to be in the implied addressing mode, in the immediate addressing mode, then this 450 is the direct value. It is not an address at all. So finally, the accumulator is equal to accumulator plus 450 directly. It is not memory of 450. I will write it here. Accumulator is equal to accumulator plus 450. is equal to accumulator plus 450. It is not memory of 450. 450 here is a direct value. I'm not going to the memory location. That is what all about the immediate addressing mode. In the immediate addressing mode, the instruction, the address part of the instruction is going to provide you the direct operand. It is neither a direct address nor an indirect address. Rather, it is the operand itself. It is the value itself that is needed to be added to the accumulator in this instruction. Okay. Yeah. Accumulator is equal to accumulator plus 450.